This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. All right, so if you did or watched my video about the 2017 redraft that dropped earlier, now we're going to talk about the 2018 redraft using the 2017 redraft. So just to recap, in that one, we got Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson and TJ Watt in the first round of that draft. And then you got Cooper Kupp at 52, George Kittle, Kenny Galladay, Aaron Jones, and then Chuck Clark. Now we're going to talk about the 2018 redraft, and this is going to be interesting, right? Because we're still operating off of the belief that everybody that we have from the 2017 redraft is still on the team. So now we have the number one overall pick, but we got Deshaun Watson. So we don't feel like we need to draft a quarterback. So now that means that the Browns are going to trade the number one overall pick to Buffalo, who really wants that pick for their 12th, 22nd, 54th, 57th, and 67th pick so they can go and get Josh Allen. We will be at number 4, and with the 4th pick of this redraft in 2018, the Browns would select Quentin Nelson, guard. The original pick here was Denzel Ward. I felt like since in our 2017 redraft, I didn't draft a single offensive lineman, and knowing that Joe Thomas is going to be retired by this point in the timeline, we would go with Quentin Nelson here to help rebuild this defensive line. And then with the 12th pick, it would be Minkah Fitzpatrick. Originally who went here at 12 was Vita Vea. We would get Minkah here. He would be the safety for this team's future. And then 22, we'll swing back around and get Orlando Brown Jr., who originally, the original 22nd pick was Rashad Evans. So we would do that here. And at 34, we would swing back around and get Nick Chubb. So with the first 4 picks in this draft, Quentin Nelson, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Orlando Brown Jr., and Nick Chubb. So now you're looking at a Browns team with a great offensive line, a defense that has Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, an offense that has Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, Cooper Kupp, George Kittle, Kenny Galladay. You're feeling good about the future prospects of this team. You're feeling good about the future of this team. Now let's jump into the next 3 picks. And with this, we will go with pick 36 and draft Shaq Leonard, who was also drafted with the 36th pick in that redraft. So nothing really changes for Shaq Leonard except for he's wearing the Cleveland Browns uniform. Pick 54, Sam Hubbard. Originally picked here was Jesse Bates. Pick 57, Mark Andrews. Originally picked here was PJ Hall. So now you add Mark Andrews to an offense that has Deshaun Watson, an offense that has Cooper Kupp, George Kittle, Kenny Galladay, and you have a 1-2 punch at running back of Aaron Jones and Nick Chubb, and you have also Chuck Clark back there as well. The reason I want to do these redrafts in this way is to show how important some of these picks are and how important it is that when you have all these picks in the first round, that you take the players that are there, because there are always great players there in the draft. Sometimes with traditional redrafts where it's just all the best players front loaded in the first round, you forget the sense of where everybody was at in those drafts or where we thought these players would be, right? You forget that certain players who didn't pan out had first round grades and were going to go in the first round no matter what. You forget that certain players just nobody was hot on, right? And it also just doing this gave me perspective on mock drafts, right? Because we fall in love with these names and you never really think about it again. But then when you do a redraft, you look at these names that you fell in love with in 2018 and go, oh man, I forgot about you. I'm glad they didn't draft that player, right? So again, 2018 redraft, Quentin Nelson with the 4th pick, no Denzel Ward, because you're going to go swing around and get Minkah Fitzpatrick with the 12th pick in the draft. Orlando Brown is the 22nd pick. You get Nick Chubb and you get Shaq Leonard, Sam Hubbard, Mark Andrews. You have 3 more picks left in this draft. And again, I'm trying to do a team building exercise as well, because sometimes just getting the best player doesn't make the most sense. You got to get the best player for the right spot. So I want to be able to draft a complete team in these 2 drafts, right? Because the Browns had the opportunity in 2017, 2018 to get a complete team. So now, if I'm just looking at new draft picks that I've selected in the last 2 years, I have a defensive line that I'm adding Myles Garrett and TJ Watt to, on top of Sam Hubbard. And then an offensive line that I'm adding Quentin Nelson and Orlando Brown to, a secondary that I'm adding, as of right now, Minkah Fitzpatrick to, and a offense that I have added the following skill players to: Deshaun Watson, Cooper Kupp, Kenny Galladay, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Mark Andrews. So it's a team. You want to build a complete team, right? Now with the last 3 picks in this draft, 65, I'm going with Brian O'Neill, who's a really good tackle. He plays for the Minnesota Vikings right now. With 67, I'm taking Fred Warner, very good linebacker. Browns originally took Chad Thomas here. And then I'm also taking DJ Reed, a good corner there. So now I'm getting those corners filled, right? DJ Reed is somebody who's going to be there. Now, it's not as good as having Denzel Ward, but it is somebody who's going to hold it down there. Pick 154, I'm getting Zach Seisler, who's a good defensive tackle. I think he plays for the Miami Dolphins. Then at 180, Chavarius Ward for that other corner position, and then John Franklin Myers. So now I have a loaded defensive line. I have a great defensive line rotation, all young. I have a great running back 1-2 punch, all young. I have a great wide receiver connection, all young. I have a great quarterback, all young. And the crazy thing about this redraft is that all of this stuff was kind of possible, right? Like all of these picks were within the reach of the Cleveland Browns during this time period. It was not out the realm of possibility in 2017 that they could have walked out with Myles Garrett, Deshaun Watson, and TJ Watt. That was possible. They didn't do it. They decided to get Myles Garrett, trade back, and end up with David Njoku, Jabril Peppers, and Deshaun Kaiser. They could have gotten much better players. The opportunity was there. And again, like having the picks is great, but you got to know how to use them. And far too often we have had GMs here that have not known how to use these picks. So that is my 2018 redraft. There will be a 2019 redraft, but just so far, given off of what I have showed you and what I have done here, what do you think this team accomplishes if they drafted this well? And do you still think Hugh Jackson would be the coach of this team till this day if they made these selections, or at least half of these selections? All of these conversations are going to be interesting to talk about. Let me know in the comment section below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night.